Who are the 12 grant recipients in season 1 of Harmonic Harvest docuseries, Weaving Silver Linings? Big Brother, Big Sister of Metro Milwaukee, Breakfast with Champions, Mel's Charities, Gems Only, Riley's Social House, Solutions Recovery Inc., Milwaukee Jazz Institute, La Gente Art, White Brick Salon, Northern Door Pride, Sharp Literacy, and Urban Ecology Center. Stay tuned for this season for you to see interviews and get to know a little bit better these organizations that are creating a space in our communities that provide inclusive, charitable-like social gatherings. What are inclusive, charitable social gatherings? You hear me talk about this a lot with Harmonic Harvest. I've made social media posts, it's on the website, but I want to break it down more for everybody in this video. So social gathering to me, they could be big, small, indoor, outdoor. I'm actually pretty confident in saying that I think that there are like infinite amounts, and there isn't like just one way that we have to define it. And that's kind of why I made the docuseries Weaving Silver Linings, a grant that has in season 1 12 different grant recipients. I'm interviewing people so you can see the wide range that people are creating these spaces in our communities. I do want to thank the recovery community because I feel like they really inspired me in the concept of social gatherings, because I'm really familiar with the recovery community and the network, and they don't really like talk about it like this, and the network is so strong. And anyone, I mentioned AA, you know what that means. If I mention a sponsor, you might know what that means, and you're not even in the recovery world, you know what I mean? It's just like a well-known thing. And so for everybody else, it's like, where do we go and what do we do? Because if you were in recovery or if you were struggling, you could show up to a meeting, walk in with whatever shame or guilt that you were experiencing. You could be in a rock bottom place in your life, and there will be people that hug you and they're so happy that you're there, and they will sponsor you. There's, conventions, you can find them all over the world, even in the middle of nowhere. You might have to drive, but you can find and have access to meetings. And then everybody else, it's like, and this apply, and even people in recovery, like if they want to do things that are not just meetings, like how do you, recovery based, like how do you find what those things are? I'm going to get a little bit more into my app, Harmonic Harvest app, in another video, but really I'm here to define what is charitable. So charitable for Harmonic Harvest is defined by the IRS and their definition of charitable. So charitable, I'm not going to list them all, but the ones that I feel like really fall under Harmonic Harvest is lessening neighborhood tensions, eliminating prejudice and discrimination, defending human and civil rights secured by law, combating community deterioration and juvenile delinquency, advancement of religion, education, or science, providing relief to the poor, distressed, or the underprivileged. Providing relief to the poor, distressed, or the underprivileged, lessening neighborhood tensions, eliminating prejudice and discrimination, combating community deterioration. We need charitable social gatherings now more than ever. Harmonic Harvest is going to change the way that we look at what charitable is. If you know of anybody that provides this space, or you provide that space, thank you. Like, we need to help tip the scales to like all of the heaviness in the world that we've been hearing, and the fact that people are trying to create somewhere that, lessening neighborhood tensions is pretty broad. And I think a cooking class, painting class, going outdoors, talking about a book, book club. There's such a wide variety. It doesn't always have to be like a sit down support group in order for it to be something charitable. Like, you don't always have to be raising money and doing all of these things. It's like, are you creating the space that helps people, brings people together? Because our communities need that. And inclusive events or initiatives that embrace diversity, welcome all, and aim to make an impact, big or small. I understand that inclusivity is context dependent, and I really want to make sure that Harmonic Harvest supports and is open to tailored programs catering to specific demographics. I think that people just have to, these events are already happening. So take a look at what they are, and if you're questioning if it's appropriate for you to be there or not, you can always call the person that's organizing this event or program and see if you're able to go. And, you know, for example, if I don't have the desire to be sober, like, it might not be appropriate that I go to an AA meeting. However, if I want to know more about this group of people, understand what happens at these meetings, and like get better insight, I could contact a facility that has these meetings, and I can ask if I could come to one. There could be people that agree at that meeting that I'm there. They're closed meetings, and then I have like approval, I could go. Or there's open meetings, speaker meetings, or I could sit down with someone that maybe goes and I don't actually have to go to the meeting. I could talk to them and hear from their perspective. So that's just one example. Watch season 1 to get a lot more information on all these different ways, and stay tuned for many more seasons, because I can't wait to show what an abundance of resources we have all over the world, to be honest. And I would love for Harmonic Harvest not just to shed light on those spaces, support them through the grant or sponsorship. I would love to, you know, go into communities that are maybe lacking those resources and help implement them. I would love to talk to government agencies and talk about how we can make this more a part of our societal structure, supporting these spaces. Because like I said, I think providing relief to the poor, distressed, or the underprivileged, and really just trying to tip the scales when it comes to neighborhood tensions and community deterioration. What can we do to help? I think it's not just attending, it's maybe volunteering or providing a service to these places, donating to these spaces, or even just letting someone else you know who might be interested aware of it. And so stay tuned. Thank you for listening. And that's all I got. I have Brian, he's Being Now Art Gallery. He's going to be creating, as you see on the screen, a piece of art that is inspired by our conversation today. And then behind him on the floor, there's a big piece of wood that he's going to be carving into. Let's see where this goes. We're going to move on to Neil. And we're going to talk about Big Brother, Big Sisters of Metro Milwaukee. I actually met another Zach at a Bucks game, and it was one of those, I see you here all the time, you see me here all the time. And then we connected on like Instagram, and he started posting things where I'm like, he's like into charity and social gatherings. I'm like, we should talk, like, what do you do? And he talked about Big Brother, Big Sisters, and what you do. Can you share?
Yeah, so first, thank you. He's a master connector, and clearly you are. So a sincere thank you to you, Jenna, because I guess I didn't realize how much I loved people and needed people until COVID. I took it for granted, because then when we were separated from one another, it really sucked. I hated it. And so to be at a kind of a tight table again, it feels good. It feels good. And to celebrate diversity, there are people in rural parts of our own state that have never had a meal with a diverse group of people. And so to be around people with different stories, different backgrounds, it really is an honor. I was telling some folks kind of during the cocktail hour that Harvard has a flourishing scale. And when I talk to our teammates, I'm honored to be the president and CEO. So we've got about 35 employees. I've been there for four months, and We have 1,000 volunteers. Our program couldn't exist without them. So the flourishing of our volunteers and the flourishing of our employees is my number one priority, besides child safety, of course. Beyond child safety, I want happy employees, because if they're happy, it absolutely will affect the kids. And so when you look at the Harvard flourishing scale, what's on it is material wealth. Do you have the money to pay your bills? Because if you don't, it can be stressful. Do you have good mental health? Do you have physical health? Do you have character and virtue? Do you have meaning and purpose? Things that we've talked about today. But one of the key facets of the Harvard flourishing scale, and Harvard seems to know what they're doing, is close social relationships. A human being does not flourish unless they have social relationships. And it's the same in the workplace. I'm a different kind of boss. When my employees are at the water cooler chit-chatting, I like it. When they're going out to lunch and a longer lunch, I don't mind it. I think it's great, because I know, particularly for young people, I'm in my 50s, but for my 22, 23-year-old young employees, if they don't have those close social relationships at work, they're gonna bail. They're gonna leave. So the things that you wanna do by bringing people together, it's meaningful to me as someone in the nonprofit community. So thank you for that. When I speak, I ask people to think about, literally just for a second, someone in your life that made a difference for you when you were young. And I hope we all were blessed to have that. It could be a teacher, besides a parent. It could be a teacher, it could be a member of the clergy, it could be a coach, it could be an aunt and uncle, or in our case, a big brother or sister. For me, it was Mr. Hollab and Mr. Morita at Homestead High School. And this is 30 years ago, 35 years ago, and I still remember the contributions they made to my life. So what Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Metro Milwaukee and all over the country allows us to do is to be that person for a child facing adversity. So we couldn't do it without, right now, 800 active volunteers, and at any time during the year, 1,000. So how do we engage those volunteers? Through social activities. So I have like a short list. So for our mentors, these are people that spend time one-on-one with a child. They either go to the child's school and they give 1 hour a week to that child and they help the child with homework. They might have lunch, they might play board games. And then we have people in the community, maybe 2-3 hours a week, they take a child out and they do something fun. But our staff, to make it engaging, we literally put on more than 50 events a year. They're called reach activities. So for our mentors and the kids that they serve, they're called matches. We put on a reach event every single week, and we partner with community organizations from as big as the Bucks to Skylight Music Theater. And they open up their doors. It's kind of like Doors Open Milwaukee, and they do special experiences. 2 weeks ago, it was the Marquette's Division I men's basketball team. The entire starting lineup did a private clinic for our kids. And so that's an important private social gathering for our mentors and the kids. But for our mentors themselves, we do events called Mix at 6, and any of you could come. Because it's not just for the mentors, because we want the mentors to get to know each other. They're heroes. But they can bring friends that aren't yet mentoring but have something to offer. So our Mix at 6 events are free, they're quarterly. We do events for the families. We have an event at the zoo. It's a back to school celebration where 500 children come. We give away 500 backpacks. We give away Nike shoes. We give away food, anything the families need to help them live better lives. And it's just an absolute celebration. So if you look at every facet of what we do, from the mentors to the families to the matches, and now donors, we do bowling events. We have 17 bowling events in the spring, where for $100, we ask donors to raise $100. They can come and bowl. Chris Middleton showed up and bowled one year.
So cool.
It's super fun. We have a gala in November every year. We have a golf outing. So for us, social gatherings are vitally important. Mentorship is inherently a social experience between an adult and a child. And without social gatherings, we couldn't exist. Did we exist during COVID? Yeah. But it was through a screen and it wasn't that great. So now that we're sort of in this post-COVID world, we're back together, we're rubbing elbows, and everyone is more flourishing as a result. So again, thank you for bringing us together. Socialization couldn't be more important for an organization like ours.
And what you just said is absolutely incredible. Like, congratulations for the amount of volunteers, mentors that you're able to acquire. Working with Solutions Recovery Inc., in the recovery community, sponsoring someone is kind of like mentoring. And that's what really inspired me with Harmonic Harvest, because if I was in recovery, I can show, and I bet if I came to Solutions, I'm like, I'm not okay, someone would be there for me, but relatively, like, where do we go? Like, where do we go into our community and just say there's a lot going on right now? Like, can I process this with someone? And it's not like clinical, it's not, you know, like someone's gonna tell you that you have mental health issues when there's a lot happening with politics. I mean, there's so many things like global warming and poverty, and being able to show up somewhere and have support, especially for youth, is so important. Like, one person can change someone's lives, and the fact that you're finding mentors to be there for youth, that is above and beyond what we need to be doing as a community.
I think it makes societal change. Thank you for that. The one closing story I share is that we were in Juneteenth Day Parade, which is the most joyous parade I've ever been in. I've been in parades in Cedarburg and Grafton, wonderful 4th of July and winter parades, Christmas parades. Juneteenth was the best parade. We had 20 matches there, so we had the little and the big. We had board members, executives. We were marching. It was a beautiful day. Such gratitude, people thanking the organization, and such joy. At the end of the day, you may have heard that 2 16-year-old girls were fighting. A 17-year-old boy shot 6 teenagers, ages 14 to 19. All, thank God, lived. But with no hyperbole, because my staff was pretty rattled to be in an environment where there was a shooting. Not hours before, we had 40 young people there, 20 young people there in the matches. And I said, no hyperbole, if those children, whether it was our organization or Running Rebels or Pearls for Teen Girls, if those teenagers, when they were younger, had a mentor, they would not have engaged in that behavior. A one-on-one relationship with a safe, stable, nurturing adult makes a massive difference.
I couldn't agree more.
I'm sure it's all available on your website,
Yeah.
so I apologize but at this stage in the game, what is the commitment of being a big brother and sister? It's something I've thought about a lot. When I was really thinking about it, my life was so chaotic. I was afraid to make the commitment that I would end up letting someone down. But my father was a big brother and knew the young man well until his adulthood. So nowadays, what's kind of the time commitment? The world is very different, but
for the school mentors, it's a year and it's an hour a week during the school year, because we have 12 school partners, and some are private, some are parochial, some are MPS. And we have approved school partners that will allow the mentor to come to the library or the principal's office, and the child is pulled out of class at a certain hour, and you have an hour with the kid, and you're helping the child with homework, and it's 1 hour a week. You don't have to come up with too many activities. You're just spending an hour. That's probably the easiest commitment. The next is the community. That's a little bit more of a commitment, because you on your own devices or through our 50 Reach activities have to come up with something every week to do with the child. And so it might be 2 hours a week, and if you miss a week, it's no big deal. But we ask for 2 to 3 visits with the child per month. And we ask for a year or two, because it can be profoundly disappointing to a child if the match ends. But the average match in our agency is lasting 4 years. And just as you indicated was it your dad? We have people that have been groomsmen at weddings of their bigs. And although it's not a formal relationship within our organization once they're 19 years old, some of these matches, these friendships, they become family, and they really are a big brother or sister and a friend for years to come. So that's a longer commitment. A moderate commitment is called Mentor 2.0. These are for rising high school sophomores, and the goal is, so how do you measure success? By the time they're seniors, they're graduating high school on time with good grades, and they're ready for college, and they have scholarships, or they're ready for the workplace. And you are helping them along the way. And that's only a 2 hour a month commitment. There's one meeting a month in the evening, like 5:30 to 7:30 or 7:30 to 9:30, where you're with your mentee. The rest is just online. There's an online curriculum, and they might ask you about FAFSA loans, or how do you get into college, or any experience that you have. And that's mostly virtual, but one meeting a month. So there really is something for everybody, but the minimum commitment, I would say, is about 2 hours a month.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
I'll probably be in touch.
And we have a waiting list of
My life is
500
much
kids.
more sedate.
500 kids.
We had 440 kids
Wait
last
list?
week.
500?
440 kids were waiting last week, and I asked
for a mentor.
waiting for a mentor, and I asked our VP of Program Services today. It was 500.
Wow.
So it just, the list goes up. It's hard, post-COVID.
Right.
It's hard to get people to take that hour or two. It really
Right.
is. Yeah.
I said, I want you to have a better life than me. Anything
head creative director and coordinator for Breakfast with Champions. It is an event that brings together all of the elite creatives here in Milwaukee. I'm originally from the north side of Milwaukee, so I have a lot of pride for my city. Even after going away for college, I'm living in DC and Baltimore and traveling to New York and, you know, going abroad these different places in the United States. Being from Milwaukee, and it's very important to me to bring my experiences and connections and relationships and just creativity, period, to the city. We deserve it. And so with Breakfast with Champions is exactly what it is. It's a morning event that includes a complimentary breakfast, whether that's a hot breakfast or a bowl of cereal. It's one of those things that I feel is lost as we come into our adulthood, that a bowl of cereal, taking the time out to enjoy that is you know, sometimes lost on us. So
Every night, 11 p.m.
and my
wife thinks I'm weird.
It's whatever
What kind,
cereal
though?
you love.
Oh, okay.
It's an assortment of all cereals.
I'm like, this is a non-judgmental place, but what kind of cereal do you eat?
I was just assuming.
Yeah, but that's just one small element that makes Breakfast with Champions. Again, the second part of that is champions. Again, it caters to the elite creatives that's homegrown from Milwaukee. So whether they are DJs, whether they are set designers, whether they are venues and own their own art gallery space, or R&B singers or poets, you know, I make sure that they get the marketing behind their name and their creativity. I make sure Breakfast with Champs just show up for them. The events are catered towards a specific group of creatives that is curated and put together from my personal network. So again, it's the biggest thing is it's a safe space for these creatives to come together, network over, again, a bowl of cereal or some eggs and crepes or croissants and some live music. We also bring in artists like my homegirl Liv here. She's a great live painter, contemporary artist. And so bringing her into the mix, and sometimes she would do a painting live while it's going on, or she would curate a painting specifically for the event, and we'll showcase that. So as far as volunteerism opportunities, there's a lot of opportunities like that for artists to just showcase their art. Comic book artists, they release their comic books. Again, these are people that I grew up with, people who I went to high school with, people I can call my brothers, my best friends, people who, again, I can rely on. So it's a safe space. The only real strangers, if you want to come kick it with us for an event, you can buy a ticket in and come enjoy music. But everyone from the set designers to the venue space owners to the artists, DJ, everyone is in my personal network, and I'm fortunate enough to know a lot of people by just simply immersing myself within the creative community, the underground community in Milwaukee, and what that has transformed into over the years. And it's like having a horn for a smaller voice, and that is, again, the people who are behind the scenes, who I honestly can put in the industry, right, and compare them to the best singers and performers and artists that are worldwide known, but they're from Milwaukee, and a lot of people don't know that. So we host these events maybe, again, we just started in April, so this is my first year actually doing it, but my plan is to do it on a quarterly basis. My third event is actually this weekend, and it is at Missy's Art Gallery over on the east side. So it's connecting, you know, my experiences and where I'm from the north side, and bringing it over to the east side and the artistic aesthetic and culture that's been over there for years. It's just combining those two, and it's always an awesome outcome, because I get so many people from the Black community, Hispanic community, executive and professional community, executives who work for the Bucks, who own, you know, different business. So it's a melting pot of people who make Breakfast with Champions exactly what it is. It's just my vision, and, you know, my people show up for me in the best way possible. And again, it all started for me simply just being young, Growing up, going to school in the morning, you know, having my bowl of cereal, getting fresh in the morning, ironing my outfits, listening to my favorite artists, whether that was, you know, Jay-Z or Lil Wayne or, you know, Cash Money. Yeah, anyone. Ja Rule, Ashanti, Beyonce, the list goes on, but I was fortunate to grow up in that genre, just organic music, organic fashion, organic art, VHS tapes, and you know, all of these little things make up Breakfast with Champions and make up how I market the artist. You know, when it comes to the content, I'm very particular and intentional with the marketing and the content that goes behind the artist and goes behind anything that I do, whether it is Breakfast with Champs or my fashion label or my job, whatever that is. So the biggest portion of Breakfast with Champs and how we get the word out is grassroots approach, of course, as well as, you know, me being a millennial, I have my one foot in the organic way of doing things as well as the digital world. So videos and artists, and I hire people like Brandon here. He has an amazing eye and he's an amazing visionary for your vision. So we have a partnership where I'm able to articulate my vision and what I see based on my experiences, and everyone shows up for me in a way that is just unexplainable. So everything is, you know, a success every time.
You know, he owns a brand called the Bricklayers Club, and every single person pretty much that helped me with the videography, with the photography, is because I met Brandon. And when he said that he wanted to start Breakfast with Champions, of course I said I would attend. But you know, it's like 10 in the morning. I gotta like go to this event. I roll out, and I was sitting there, you know, I had my cereal, and so you could pay $20, and this is another thing that I like to mention, is like sometimes social gatherings you could pay for, and sometimes they could be free. And what you're doing in the first couple hours, like you get more of like a VIP access. Like if you want to pay $20, you get access to, you know, there's songs from this rapper who hasn't released to the public, and you get discounts on clothes. And honestly, I'm like drinking and eating food, like this is my $20, you know. And I remember when the performer went on, and the entire room was like cheering, like we're all into it, and Liv and I were dancing, and I'm like, this is 10 a.m., like let's go. Like it was so much fun.
Those mimosas here.
But you know, and the performer, he even opened up. He's like, you know, I just got back into therapy, and it was a very like real, raw moment that now people were cheering for. And that's when I was sitting there like, this is Harmonic Harvest. Like what you're doing to support other creatives, to support the community. You know, we can have these events that are free, but if you pay $20, I can give that to the painter, the photographer, the videographer, and let's like give back to the people that are just trying to make our communities better.
Absolutely. So I definitely think, you know, with venues or events that do charge, the biggest thing is providing value. You know, for whatever dollar amount that you're asking, what value are you providing for people to pay and come to your event? You know, specifically with Breakfast with Champs, you're getting a hot meal. You're getting, you know, a chance to have a glass of champagne. You're getting live music. You're getting the chance to meet artists and different people that you've never met before, that you never knew that you actually needed as part of your business or your idea that you're trying to execute, you know? So, keyword on intention, in a safe space. People are able to come as themselves. It's totally inclusive and a diverse group of people who just really run the culture of Milwaukee. And I'm, again, fortunate enough to be, you know, my name is good in the streets here, so, you know, so I can.
And I do appreciate, because I do come from a small community where there's not a lot of diversity, and coming into Milwaukee, you know, I got to go to your art gallery, and that was part of the thing of these social gatherings. I thought I never would have found this place and there were businesses that donated, like KOSS, K-O-S-S. They
Yeah.
gave headphones.
To all of our VIP members, yeah, that's right. KOSS, the artist has a partnership with KOSS Headphones, which you know is a
We're a Cost
Wisconsin-based.
family.
Milwaukee-based company.
So all of my VIP members who paid that extra fee, you know, for those exclusive, that exclusive package, they were able to walk away with free headphones. You know,
Right.
a song on there.
And,
So it's things like that you know add value.
Can't forget
And-
the scones.
And the scones. Yes.
Yeah, the local bakery donated food, and I know that there are a lot of businesses where they even set aside X amount of funds or merchandise to give to people in the community. And so hopefully by creating this awareness of what people are doing, businesses will keep supporting, and then I know about them. I didn't know about KOSS, you know, I didn't know about your art gallery, and now I can't wait to come back on Saturday, and you're here right now, and
We're all here.
being in a room that was diverse felt really good for me, because I'm trying to continue to like spread my wings and, you know, meet people that are different than me, and you know, I have to thank you for that, you know.
Absolutely. Like I told you, whatever you need or whoever you need, just let me know. We'll figure it out. We here, baby.
We're at an event for Breakfast with Champions. We just heard some live music. Everyone is in such a good mood. It feels really good to be here.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here for sure. I'm Brandon. This is Breakfast with Champions here with Miss Jenna. What's up?
You know, we had our event on October 4th, and you got to explain to everyone what is that you're doing here today, and we can get a little bit more into the details, but I wanted to know a little bit more about you.
Yeah. I grew up on the north side. First, my name is Brandon. I grew up on the north side here in Milwaukee. Went to high school at Mesmer Catholic High School. So everything started there. I got into fashion real early, selling t-shirts at lunchtime and stuff. From there, went on to college elsewhere, traveled abroad to New York, DC, lived in those places, Ohio. Really built relationships early in my teens and in my 20s that resonate for me now today. It's the reason why things like Breakfast with Champions can happen, because I have those resources and build those relationships.
You won a contest when you were young.
Yes, I did, with school. I went to Art Institute of Milwaukee here downtown in the 3rd Ward when I was open, and I submitted my brand for a class, and they granted me a space at the Grand Avenue Mall. And at that point I knew, like, okay, I can do pop-ups, I can bring people to my store, I can brand myself, I can do all of these things for the community, in the community where I'm from. So yeah.
What was the concept of that brand?
So the concept at first, don't laugh, it was actually really cool. It was like a carnival themed brand, and my t-shirts came in like popcorn boxes when you ordered them. It was like super cool.
It is cool.
Right? And the concept was just, it was super gnarly. It was kind of dark, but it was fresh, it was new. And to this day, I don't think no brand has ever even thought of doing anything like that. So
I've never seen that. What do you mean dark? It was just more like skateboardery.
It was in the beginning where streetwear was hitting the streets or hitting the industry. So it was more freedom, not as much controversy. It was like, think of like clowns, you know, like the dark space of like circus. You know what I mean? You think of the balloons, cotton candy and shit, but think of like, I don't know, like a scary movie at a that was the brand. So.
Fun. And then what brand did you come up with?
So then I came up with Bricklayers Club. Bricklayers Club, I learned a lot from my first brand as far as partnerships and the business side of things and securing things. So Bricklayers Club is like probably a success story when it comes to like not giving up and taking total control of your business, your ideas, and your brand, and having the freedom to really expand on, you know, your ideas and mix that with fashion. So that's what Bricklayers Club came about.
I like that Bricklayers Club does a lot of collaborations. Who are some of the people that you've collabed with?
Yeah, I've collabed with Malik from TRP. I've collabed with Genesis. I've collabed with unofficial collab with Harley Davidson. You know, that was but as far as the people that I named, those are people who are creatives as well, who's maybe shot and modeled for me. But as far as unofficial collabs and things like that, Harley Davidson is probably my favorite and biggest one, where I kind of handpicked a bunch of vintage Harley Davidson tees and products that they made 20, 30 years ago, and just printed on them, used them as kind of like my canvas to print logos and embroider and come out with like a full-fledged collection. Paying homage to them, I didn't want to, you know, disrespect them in any way, but just paying homage because they make all of those things here where we're from. So again, it's very much a homegrown collection.
I love that. I mean, their birthday party here this summer was crazy.
People from everywhere came to Milwaukee, and it was good. In a way, because I live on the east side, so no parking, but that's another story. It was good for the city simply because, you know, people from all over the world came to this small market city, but this city holds so much culture and legacy, so with Harley Davidson being one of them. Yeah.
I love that you've had fashion shows too.
Yes, I have. I've hosted streetwear showcases here. And again, like I mentioned before, as far as modeling, a lot of collaborations like with Copyright Mag here in Milwaukee and Vato. And that whole team, we threw a streetwear showcase simply for like men designers. A lot of us don't get the eyes and the vision on us as far as our creation. When you think of fashion and fashion shows, it's kind of like women, high fashion, big brands. But we did our thing as far as streetwear, and it paid homage to the male scene and what we have to offer in the fashion industry here in Milwaukee.
Oh, I love that, because I would even wear men's apparel. So like you tailoring to that even tailors to me.
Yep. And I try to build something that's universal and inclusive to all sexes, all creeds or walks of life. So it's a very unisex, universal brand.
I agree. I just wanted to highlight some of those things because I really am inspired how you got to this moment with Breakfast with Champions. You could have said, I'm gonna keep focusing on Bricklayers Club. Instead, you said, you know what, I wanna open up this space for all creatives. Musicians, artists, there's gonna be comic books here today?
Yeah. My one of my longtime high school friends, he has like a multimedia company, Set the Tone, and he released his first comic book, and it was like a full-fledged, full spread comic book cover. He did the rollout and marketing behind that. So I just wanted to showcase his work, at one of my events. Like, why not? He's from here just like me, so why not put some spotlight on him?
Well, I'm proud of you, and I believe in everything that you're doing. Like, where do you want to take Breakfast with Champions from here?
I want to take it across the region. I want to do like Breakfast with Champs DC, Breakfast with Champs Houston, Breakfast with Champs LA or Ohio. Shout out to my Dayton people, Ohio people, period. Shout out to all of my best friends in Washington DC. We can definitely put something together. But I see it expanding, not just in the community here in Milwaukee, but different communities in the United States.
Right. I mean, I could see this being something that happens all over the world.
Absolutely.
That's where I see this.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? But it starts at home, with the community.
I agree.
It starts at home. What's that?
So part of Harmonic Harvest, eventually it's going to be an app, but we have a grant that people can complete. You've done that already.
Right.
And I want to support the people that make Harmonic Harvest possible. when my app is going and people are looking for social gatherings in the area, what I do is only possible because of what you do.
Wow.
So here's a check for $10,000. I just want to help you, like, continue to move forward. I showcased a bunch of different types of organizations in season 1, and I know you're just beginning, and I'm excited to see where you go from here.
Junior, this means a lot to me. You helping my small business out, this is crazy. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I'll put this to good use for sure. And
I know you
continue to
will.
create more opportunities for people and give them their value. Thank you.
Thank you. And I mean, this with you, I see the artists, I see the people inside. So I know you're going to take care of everything you need to do, and I'm along for the ride.
Wow. Thank you.
My baby mama glowing, we got plans now. Execution for my sanity, gon' map it out. We gon' crunch these numbers up.
I left our collaborative conversation, and there were a lot of things that you said that stuck with me. Same with everybody, but I just wanted to get to know you a little bit better. I think you did a really good job explaining what Big Brother Big Sisters does, and kind of see like who we are behind our roles and showing how that adds more into our daily actions.
Right, right. Well, I mean, first, thank you for being here, and I really enjoyed the group discussion. It was so nice to be together, as I said that night, but this is not the life I predicted for myself. So I'm 52, so I've 30 years into a career, and I thought the career would be acting and producing TV shows, kind of like what you're doing here.
Never thought that either.
Well, life takes you on an interesting journey, but so for me, when I was 20, I was in my senior year at UW-Madison. I was studying radio, TV, film because of acting and production, when I read a newspaper article about a 5-year-old boy that lived in my community of Mequon, Wisconsin, that was born with HIV. And at the time, this is in 1991, there was so much discrimination and misinformation. People really thought like you could get HIV from touching someone. And the way it manifests itself was through really a lot of cruelty towards kids. So the article I read just said AIDS hysteria in Mequon. Local parents fear for their children's safety. It sounded like a monster was on the loose, and it was just a little 5-year-old, innocent little guy that just wanted to go to kindergarten. And I knew enough that I could not get HIV from spending time with a kid. It just, he had an older brother who did not have HIV, and if you think about what brothers do, they fight, they share toothbrushes, they share food, they hug, they are hanging out, and if one boy's negative, how would it be unsafe for me to be with him? So all I did was nothing heroic. I just called up this little guy, I called up his mom and said, I don't know you, I live about a mile away, but if you need like a big brother, I'm here to help. She invited me over immediately. So I knocked on the door, and it was the first time I had knowingly met anyone with HIV/AIDS. But I wasn't really scared. I was a little anxious, like what am I going to experience? And I crossed into the apartment, and they seemed like normal kids. And so for the next 2 years, I just immersed myself into this new world that I did not imagine. On weekends, during the week, I'd be at UW-Madison studying TV film, and on the weekend, I'd be at their home helping them. And what I learned in the 2 years is that Niall, the little boy, his pain did not come from the disease, it came from human beings. And that inspired the creation of this summer camp that we had for years called Camp Heartland. And so for the next almost 20 years, that's the national organization that I led. So it had nothing to do with acting. I used some of the skill sets that I learned in producing events. But a lot of our success was through social gatherings and bringing people together. So that's what I did there. And then for the last 12 years, I worked at a major Wisconsin corporation, Capco, led all of their special events, led their charity work. And then finally, just a few months ago, I became the CEO here, and I've loved every minute. So that's sort of the journey that brought me here.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I've loved every minute.
You know, it's really cool that you ended up here and you were basically mentoring. You said you were kind of like his big brother.
And I officially was a big brother for Big Brothers and Sisters
Really?
in college. Yeah, so it's been 30 years, but yeah, I'm still in touch with my little brother,
That's
Tony.
so cool.
Tony's probably 40 or 45 years old, and we're just in touch a little bit on social media. But,
Right.
I knew the value of the program. And you asked Danica a question about the impact it makes on the big, and I don't stress that enough. It was a great question. it's sort of cliche to say, oh, the giver receives more, but in this case, it's really true. When you're a college student or any age, and you form a safe, nurturing, stable relationship with a child, they really look up to you. It's a responsibility, but it's a tremendous privilege, and it feels great for an adult to have those kind of friendships.
Right. I couldn't agree more. The child who had HIV, was he in the program, or you just did that in your free time?
So he was the inspiration. He and his mom were like the family behind Camp Heartland. And he's now 40 years old. He's married. He adopted a teenage girl who was without a family at age 16. He's healthy. He's a pastor at a Lutheran church out east. And it's an amazing story of hope. It really is.
That is incredible. I just like, I'm kind of pulling at it, the fact that you showed up and you volunteered your time, not being attached to an organization, it did inspire something bigger, but you went in saying, this is human to human. This isn't part of an organization, even though what organizations do is great. Because what Harmonic Harvest is trying to show, and you might have seen that around the table, is that there's so many different ways that we can help and be a part of something. And it doesn't always have to be by the book. It could just be showing up saying, I want to help.
Right. I mean, literally, you could go to Cathedral Square outside my office, and if you see someone sitting there, nothing stops you from just going to say hello, bringing people together. There's nothing wrong with it. The other thing I say is, because I was a young charity founder, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was a film major trying to start a national charity. By the time I left, we had a budget of $3 million and dozens of employees and 50 camp counselors and thousands of volunteers. So I had to learn as I went, but mentorship was important to me as a young adult. But I always encourage young people, follow your dreams and don't assume anyone will have the big idea. So if you weren't doing Harmonic Harvest, no one else would do it. You just had to wake up and say, I want to bring people together. And whoever founded Big Brothers and Sisters had to say, I believe in this program. And whoever created this crystal company had to just go out and do it. And I just encourage people, whatever it is that you're dreaming about and passionate about, go out and do it. The worst that you can do is fail. And if you don't do it, it's going to gnaw at you. So pursue those dreams. So I love helping young people pursue their dreams.
I'm so happy you just said all that, because with Harmonic Harvest, I want to inspire people to dream again. It's really difficult sometimes living in this society and going through everything that we're going through. By 2023, there's not one person, I can confidently say that, who's not going through something on this planet. Right. We're all being impacted by so much, and to be able to say, follow your dreams and make them happen, and that there's gonna be people around that support you and could mentor you or whatever it could be, we need way more of that.
I agree, and I think that there is, as an employer, and as a CEO, there's frustration with Gen Z. Because there's a perception that they're entitled, that they're not committed, that they job hop. But I will say, I don't agree with that. What I admire about them, and my daughter's 18, so she's right there, is they're not going to settle for something that doesn't fill their cup. They have to be flourishing. They have to have lives that have character and virtue, meaning and purpose. Money is important. They have a quality of life or a lifestyle that they strive for, but they want social relationships. They want flexibility. They don't want to live to work. That's not what they want. They want to live. And work is a part of that. It's just a part. And we don't say here at Big Brothers and Sisters, we don't say work-life balance. You're not going to balance work and life. It's a harmony. It's a harmony. And so with the way that we lead here, we want the young people here, if they have another passion, they can pursue that passion. I'm not saying you have to only focus on this. So just in general, as an employer and as a human being with some experience in my 50s, I love when a young person has an idea. And my daughter, I say, she's an opera student at Ball State. That's a tough career.
That's incredible.
It's a pretty tough thing to pursue. It's a pretty niche-y thing to be, a soprano in opera. Not a lot of jobs, but when else should she pursue that? She's 18 years old. Now's the time for her to pursue that dream, not when she's 40 or 50. So I just tell people, go after your dreams.
And you never know how it'll unfold and how doors will open, and you just have to trust the process.
I agree, and life takes you in a weird route. This is not where I ever thought I would be, and I was in a corporate America for 12 years, and if when I was a 20-year-old young person, if you would have asked me if that's where I would have been, I would have said absolutely not. Leading an affiliate of a large organization, I just didn't know. But you just follow your path, and I think it usually works out for people. I hope so.
Was it hard for you to say, I'm not going to go down that path that I thought I was going to go down, and now I'm going to do this?
I think about that. That's a good question, Jenna. So, like, let's say best scenario. I watch The Office every day. That is my escape. I know I've seen every episode probably 20 times. When I'm working out, I'm listening to it. It's just my escape. So let's just say I was blessed and I was like a middling actor on that show, a small part on a show. What impact would my life make? And I don't say this with anything but modesty, because I'm one of many people that are involved in these charities. I feel like my life has had greater impact in the nonprofit realm. With that said, you're never too old to dream. So when I turned 50, I started acting again. I had never quit. I've done TV commercials and movies, but when I was 50, I got my resume together. I got 2 agents, and I've done like 6 or 7 films and TV, and so it's a small part of my life. But you can have a piece of your dream. Am I going to be Tom Cruise? No. That I'm the same height.
You never know.
I'm taller than Tom Cruise. That train has left the station, but like I'm cast in a big movie coming up. They have to raise the money first. It's being filmed right here in Milwaukee. I have a big important part. And so it's fun to keep trying.
I love that.
I've never wanted a cookie cutter life. So, every day I'm trying to think of something new and different. I like to be out on the town. My wife is more of an introvert. She'll go to stuff, but she's a homebody, and we compromise in the middle, but I would be out all the time at galas and events. I love being out among people.
Well, we love having you out.
Oh, thank you. Likewise.
I'm excited to see what comes out.
Oh, I'll tell you. I'll tell you when the camera's off, because I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say just yet.
Okay.
So, yeah.
There's so many moments in my life where I feel like I leaned into a passion or interest, knowing that isn't the entire road. Like, for example, my mom owned a bar and grill while I was growing up. She's a really phenomenal cook, and I loved the idea of owning a restaurant, but I didn't actually want to do that, because I know what you have to do that. That's a lot, and it just wasn't my path. But I had this idea of what kind of a restaurant I would do, and I actually made a whole menu just in my free time, just like everything on the menu, the theme of this place. And I was talking to some of my friends who are cooks, and it turns out they were going to open up a restaurant, and it aligned with my menu. And they took some of my menu items and they put it on their menu, and to this day you could go and, it's like those little things where you're like, like, it doesn't need to be me owning a restaurant. It could be my friends having a little something on the menu.
A piece of your dream, and I tell my daughter that too. Like, you might have a full-time job as a music teacher, but you might be in bel canto chorus on the weekends. It doesn't mean you're going to be, at the New York Philharmonic. Maybe you will. Go for it. But at some point you may say, I'm not going to reach that goal. I'm going to have a family or get married or wherever else, and maybe family's more important. But at this stage in your life, man, go for those dreams.
I love that. There's 2 things that I want to touch on before we're done. One, I like a lot how you mentioned the mechanic at our collaborative conversation, because not everyone is thinking they're mechanic that they got to work that day for fixing their brakes or whatever it could be. And I often think about, I try to be extremely mindful of how everything comes to me. So even this sitting here, what went through this process. There's even people that sign this, which just makes us even more special, because it's like, what is that? And so whether it's something that I'm eating or I'm wearing, purchasing, and when you think about charity and social gatherings, the impact, the ripple effect of everything, I like how you mentioned the mechanic. It's just, there's no role that's too small.
None. The school custodian that is making that school safe and clean for the children, the receptionist here that's picking up the phone, because if we don't pick up the phone when we have people interested in being mentors, they're not going to call back necessarily. You might have one shot. And so every person, I am no more important. We don't lead with our titles here. I happen to be the president and CEO. My business card says Chief Encouragement Officer. That's what I I'm not chief executive officer, I call it chief encouragement officer. It's just encouraging all the staff. They all contribute. We at staff meetings, we're not grouped by directors and managers. Everyone contributes equally, and we're all important. And I think I think if you're with friends and they treat the wait staff incorrectly, or not kind, I wouldn't want to be friends with them. So I like to be with people that hold the door. I like to be with people that are kind to the secretarial staff, to whatever level. You just treat people with kindness and compassion.
Exactly. And like we said, you never know what someone's going through.
Right.
So Cookie, she was our volunteer recipient.
Yeah, I know.
And we just met with her to do her interview, and she was really inspired by everything that you had to say.
Oh, thanks. And we're friends now on social media, which is cool.
She is giving you 1,000 cranes.
I know. She let me know yesterday.
How does that make you feel?
It's awesome. And I know, I had a friend at Camp Heartland who showed up from Japan unannounced. We had a little boy with HIV/AIDS that was famous in Japan. When he was living here, the Japanese media learned of him and they flew him to Japan, and he became a celebrity. Like Ryan White was a boy here that was very well known. He was the Ryan White of Japan. And this woman saw him on TV, heard that he was going to be a camper, and flew from Japan uninvited, which was a little off-putting. Like, who's this woman? She turned out to be the most lovely person, and all week she was working feverishly. We didn't know what she was doing. She created 1,000 paper cranes that she presented to us at a candlelight vigil where all the kids were crying and sharing their stories and their hopes and dreams, and they were grieving, and it was a night of hope and sadness. And so for me personally, the 1,000 paper cranes is very meaningful. So when she told me yesterday she was going to bring us next week, those cranes, it meant a lot to me. So I'll probably bring her to a team meeting so she can explain the symbolism, but it's a very, on a personal level, it means a lot to me.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, so thank you, Cookie.
I'm really happy.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what you do with them, and I know she'll be really happy to talk to everyone. I kind of have to get up and grab this. We talked about everyone's role and thanking them for the impact that they make, the ripple effect. And Harmonic Harvest wouldn't be what it is without the people that are doing the work on a daily basis, despite what they're going through in their personal life. You're showing up and you're doing what you can. So here's a $10,000 check.
Whoa, oh my goodness. Can I give you a hug? Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so nice. Thank you so much. This really translates to 10 more kids for a year. It's incredible. It's incredible. So I'm overjoyed and grateful, and look forward to working with Jenna more in the future. And let me know how I can help your efforts, because I believe in what you're doing at the core. I really do. COVID was so hard on all of us, and people are still a little bit hesitant about being together in large groups. I don't think it's COVID. I just think we got used to being at home. And I think it was so hard on kids, and I see that with our kids. I see it with my summer camp kids. They missed like 3-4 years of their life together. The smiles were covered up, and we're just recovering, and we have a generation of young people that really didn't have all those experiences. So what you're doing is noble, and it's important, so I want to be part of it.
Thank you.
And thank you for this. Thank you for this.
Of course. Thank you. So one of the neat things that has happened with Weaving Silver Linings is, one, my level of awareness of all the programs and things that are happening throughout our communities. And I feel like everyone has their own level of awareness of what's going on or who can do what, and everyone knows somebody, right? And I just wanted to share this beautiful story because I'm hoping that it inspires you guys to continue to do that throughout your own networks. Breakfast with Champions and Big Brother, Big Sister is 2 of our grant recipients in this season, and Brandon called me with Breakfast with Champions and he said, we're gonna do a breakfast with toys, and we are going to raise toys for kids in need. He was really excited. He had an ambitious goal that he wanted to accomplish in a short period of time. And I thought, what if you helped Big Brother Big Sisters of Metro Milwaukee. They have over 500 kids on the wait list right now looking for a mentor. And what if we could give them toys and show them that people are still thinking about them, care about them? And that's what they're doing. They partner together. There's an event December 16th. And if you go on our social media pages, we are advertising. Go on Breakfast with Champions, Big Brother Big Sisters. Go donate toys. You don't even need to participate, honestly, because you can do it online. And the biggest outcome we're honestly hoping to achieve is that we can get mentors to sign up. There's another event that night. Emmett James, he is an incredible musical performer who is letting us use his original music in season 1, and he will be performing. And you bring a jacket, it's going to be donated to men in need, and there will also be a sign up for people to become mentors. So no matter what we're doing, we can figure out like how to help each other, even if it's just having a sign up sheet for mentorship if you're interested. Check out these events. Maybe it'll inspire you to host these type of events or connect people that you know that can help each other. It really is that easy. Let's go. Thanks.
Another day, another dollar, that hit different when you freelance. Or when you quit your 9 to 5 to do everything you plan. Tried to tell them this is more than just a dream. Everything for Avery, but it's always been for Pressaline. I got London in my will, I ain't made it yet. CJ on the mix, I ain't paid him yet. If you ain't got the budget, might as well just save your breath. Cause when you hit me up, just know you talking to the best. Sometimes you just gotta go ahead and say it.